I'm Julie from the lifestyle website julieblanner.com, where I share easy, entertaining ideas, recipes, and home decor. Today, not only am I excited to share our kitchen organization with you, but I'm really excited that I actually got my kitchen organized over Christmas break. It feels so great to know exactly what I have in the kitchen and exactly where to find it. For me, organization is exactly the same as decorating. You want to blend design and function. In our kitchen, I did that by using really cohesive pieces that not only functioned but looked pretty as a whole. When you have a lot of mismatched items, it's not only aesthetically displeasing to the eye, but it also makes it harder to find exactly what you're looking for. Keeping it cohesive makes it really easy, and you can really let things like spices shine, and a lot of times often see them from outside the bottle and know exactly what it is you're looking at. The first thing that I tackled was our spice pantry. It's because it's something that's frequently used, but it was in the most disarray. It's really gratifying to start with your biggest project first, because then it kind of gives you the momentum to complete the rest of the project. When we moved into our new kitchen, it was definitely in disarray. After 9 months of renovating, we had finally gotten the opportunity to move in. We kind of just threw everything in and got started. We were so anxious to get to cooking and home cooked meals again. The spice cabinet was just a disaster. I organized our spices back when we lived in Kansas City. It was all working really well, but over the years, I had accumulated additional spices that I hadn't accommodated for or didn't have the same jars for, as well as a lot of duplicates. And that's one of the greatest reasons to get organized, is it eliminates a lot of excess. You see immediately exactly what you have and exactly what you need. Putting all the spices on a lazy Susan makes them easily accessible. I used a total of 4 of them on 2 shelves. Our cabinets aren't very deep, that way we could have a larger window to maximize all the natural light in this tiny kitchen. So I had to use smaller lazy Susans. So rather than using one large one on each shelf, I used 2 smaller, and actually it's really ideal. It let me break up the spices into how often I use them. I also use them on the next level, where I keep our chicken stock cubes and cinnamon sticks, those larger, less frequently used items, and then salt as well. Can you believe these beautiful bamboo lazy Susans were only $6.49 a piece? You can find all the details in the description below. In addition, you can find our spice jars and labels that are included, and you wouldn't believe how reasonable those are as well. Now, our less frequently used cabinet, because it's a little more awkward up against the window, is my sprinkle cabinet. And I know this is a luxury to have, but it brings me so much joy. I love all the color, the fun, and fanfare. The girls and I like to bake a lot together, and so we've accumulated quite a few sprinkles. And with that came a whole lot of different containers. P.S. Did you know that you can go to your grocery store bakery and ask them to sell you sprinkles? If there's something that you're looking for that's not available, just ask. It's really fun because it gives you a wide variety of sprinkles and a lot of lesser seen items, but it also comes in, again, a very different container. So our sprinkle cabinet had become quite a hot mess, and by utilizing just a couple of styles of jars, we made that really easy to access, really clean and neat looking. Again, using cohesive jars really makes a big difference, and you can find these again in the description below. One of the things I like to do when I organize is I like to assess how I use my kitchen. So what I realized is that I was doing a lot of my baking to the left of our range and not to the right. I relocated the bulk of our baking accessories to the left, and that includes our KitchenAid mixer. I put it just below that cabinet. All of my bread baking dishes, which I'm sure you've seen a lot of my easy bread recipes, those are all above as well. Also included in that cabinet are my mixing bowls. And just to the left of that is where you'll find my baking pantry. Yes, I have a baking pantry, something I never dreamed would be possible, especially with our small footprint of our kitchen. You can learn all about our traditional kitchen design in another video I did, which I'll link in the description. Without changing our footprint at all, we were able to get a lot more cabinet space, which allowed me to have a baking pantry. This is where I keep all of my flour, sugar, brown sugar, all the accessories that go into our baked goods, whether it be graham crackers that are crushed or chocolate chip, and it's all in one cohesive space, and it's really easily accessible from the counter where our KitchenAid mixer is, where I do all my baking, which is far too often. And just above it, I keep all of my cut out sugar cookies in a nice neat little basket. I also keep our odds and end baking dishes that are seasonal in that cabinet because they're less accessible. So I want to keep the things that I need to use on a daily basis a little more convenient. In addition, in that cabinet, you'll find all of our small cooking accessories, like I have a waffle iron and food processor. In their kitchen island, you'll find all of our standard baking dishes, which is nearby the oven. And so again, pretty convenient, nice and low and easy to access. Also to the left of our range are all my pots and pans. I use nice drawer sliders, which makes it really easy to get them in and out, and they all stack within one another. And that's one of the biggest ways you can save space, is if it's not stackable, reconsider, is this a right piece for you? Is this something you could or should eliminate? Stackable items really free up a lot of space. As I mentioned before, I keep all my mixing bowls in the cabinet above, and those mixing bowls, 3 large mixing bowls, they all stack within one another, so they only consume half of one shelf. Just to the left of our range, you'll find all of our cast iron, skillets, Dutch ovens, etc. And that makes them really easy to access, and it stores so beautifully as well. Those are heavy pieces, so I wanted to keep those really convenient and dedicate a storage space for them. And just above, in our hutch, all of our platters. When they're not in use, they're all stacked up nice and neat. They're easy to access, to pull out really quickly. They also make a great place to store baked goods. When we're having a large group of people over and I'm not ready to serve dessert yet, I keep those in that hutch. And it doesn't matter that those are all stacked up on top of one another, it still is a beautiful presentation and nice and stowed away. Our pantry isn't all that large, but it's really accessible for our children who are all younger. One of the things I love about organizing is I realized half the stuff in our pantry we didn't use, was expired, kids don't like to eat, and so organizing it really let me assess what we need to do moving forward. I realized that we had like 5 boxes of cereal. They were all stacked sideways, but only 3 of them actually had cereal in them. And the kids, every time we go to the grocery store, they always say they need cereal just because they want to pick out the new best flavor. Putting them in clear plastic storage containers allowed me to see what they're actually consuming, what we really need. A lot of times it's not just adding aesthetically pleasing storage, but really adding a lot of function and making your grocery shopping easier so that you don't end up with a lot of excess or waste. And I'm not all about repackaging everything because heck, that's a whole lot of effort, and I have 3 small children. So I like to use storage baskets, and I divided out in our storage basket the food groups for the kids so that they know exactly what to pack in their lunches and what's safe for snack in their classrooms. So it makes it really easy for them to realize what they can pack in their lunches and their snacks, and allows them to help me in the process in the mornings, which makes our day so much more streamlined. As much as I want to get rid of the use of plastic bags, aka Ziplocs, we still use those on occasion, and so I put those in yet another container so they're easy for them to access and help me get their lunches prepared in the mornings. Other pantry staples like nuts and crackers, those I put into glass storage containers with nice bamboo lids. They're clean, concise, you know exactly what you have, exactly what you need, and they're perfect for tossing into a salad last minute. You can find all of my storage containers listed in the description below. Another element of organizing is what to keep on your countertops and what to stow away. I say if it's anything that you use more than 3 times a week, it does have a valid space on your countertop if you want it there. Most of my items I use on a daily basis if I keep it on our countertop. And one of those things is our knife block. I use those on a daily basis so it can consume valuable countertop space, as well as our dish/hand soap. I have those combined in one container, and our countertop cleaning spray I like to keep there as well. The only other things I have on our kitchen countertop are our KitchenAid mixer, which I use all too frequently, and our crock filled with cooking utensils. Anything else can be stowed away, and it keeps your kitchen looking nice, clean, and organized, and your items still easy to find. The same concept of organization applies to your refrigerator as well. I know, again, it's not always practical to change things and put them in a different container, but sometimes it really does simplify life as well. Use a label on the bottom of each container to remind you of when it's expired. With it all being more cohesive and streamlined, you can see right away when you have something, when you don't have something. You can look at it and see if it needs to get tossed out. I know one of those things that often falls victim of spoiling in our refrigerator is sour cream. And so sometimes it gets lost in the abyss of a messy refrigerator. Keeping everything clear, concise, standard containers also makes it really easy to point out quickly if something needs to be tossed. I'm not a huge fan of adding plastic to anything, especially a refrigerator. But I did for the kids in the lunch drawer, lunch meats and things like that. Again, I felt like when we get bags from the grocery store of lunch meats, oftentimes those expire and we don't realize it. Keeping it in one container and allowing me to see regularly exactly what is still good and what needs to be tossed aside is very helpful. I like to keep all of our fruits in a strainer. When we get in from the grocery store, we all kind of pitch in and help put things away. And I toss the grapes in there and apples and whatever other items we have, and I wash them all at once and allow them to dry, put them in there, and then you won't get any excess vines or things like that in the bottom of your drawer that have to be cleaned out later. They all get caught in that strainer, and you can just wash your strainer each time you go to the grocery store. One of the easiest ways to get organized is, as I mentioned before, keeping things cohesive. This not only applies to your dishes, but your children's dishes as well. One of the other things that got really out of hand for us in our pantry, where the kids keep their cups, plates, and bowls, is that they were all mismatched. So nothing's stacked very well at all. And then it becomes an entire cabinet of disarray. To keep things from falling over, often the best thing to do is to keep it cohesive. And so that applies in all of our cabinets, but especially in our dish cabinet. Having everything that matches, it makes it really easy to line up, stack up. So I replace all of the kids' pink, blue, mismatched dishes, all with white cohesive melamine dishes. And it has made all the difference in the world. And the kids didn't mind it at all. I actually asked them if they would be heartbroken to eliminate those dishes. And because they have to put them away and they have to get them out, they actually thought it was a really great idea. Thanks so much for watching. As always, you can find all the links for the things I discussed today in more detail in the description below. You can follow along by clicking subscribe.